Hey everyone, welcome to some bonus content from episode 2, Cursed Objects and Military Mascots.
We had lots of fun with this episode, maybe too much, because we ran out of time and had to cut a few stories.
But we didn't want those stories to go unheard. In this bonus video, we're sharing some military stories from our families and even a few personal experiences that didn't quite fit into the main episode.
These moments were too good to leave out completely, so we're giving them their own space right here.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoy this behind the scenes look at the conversations that really we squirreled. Enjoy.
So you got to think before the Korean War, actually, I think it was before Vietnam. Before Vietnam, First Cav rode in on horseback. And it had been that way since the Civil War. So you're talking like since the 1800s. First Cav, that was their niche all the way through history until Vietnam comes along. And then they get the bright idea that we're going to ditch the horses and we're going to go to helicopters.
Da, 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 da.
I mean,
So
you
if
got to
you've
think
watched-
about
if
it. You got to think
If
about
you've
it.
ever seen the movie We Were Soldiers, that is the point in time where First Cav switches from horseback to we're going to ride in Hueys.
You have to think about it in the sense of wartime. If you have how many people typically fit in a Black Hawk or in a standard issued helicopter at that point in time?
So in a Huey, you could probably squeeze 7 to 8 men per.
I would say 8.
Okay,
I think
so
it's
let's say
4
8.
inside, 2 gunners, and 2 in front.
So think 8. Let's say they have 3 helicopters. Somebody do that math because I suck. 16,
24.
24. So if they're cavalry, as we'll call them, that is, well, let's say 24 equals. You have to not only feed the men, but you also have to feed the horses and house the horses and take care
And
of
I
the
think
horses.
originally because they were going to Vietnam and Vietnam being a jungle,
Yeah,
the horses would have been fed.
they would have
That
been
wouldn't have been a
fed,
problem.
but you have to think about
But getting them there.
horses, I swear, have the intelligence sometimes of a spoon, and they do everything they can to kill themselves.
Well, they're also very skittish around snakes. And how many snakes are in Vietnam?
Exactly.
Exactly.
And you got to think even ground is their playing field. I don't know if you've walked through the forest. I imagine a jungle is, if not worse than a forest.
I've seen Rambo.
Not very even ground.
Yeah.
You could definitely fuck a horse up going through there. Plus,
So
horses are not super
I-
easy to transport either.
I'm not saying I didn't like the transition because I do like to
I know.
transition.
It's
But-
more, it's logical.
Kind of jealous because my uncle was First Cav and they
Yeah.
got to do a lot of really cool stuff and still do to this day. And I'm just like, now don't get it wrong. Don't get me wrong. They're not, First Cav is not as badass as the Rangers,
Which my namesake, my great uncle, was a ranger in World War II.
but they're still, First Cav is still pretty badass. And you get to wear the Stetson.
My uncle always used to joke when he was in the army, was his joke when anyone would ask him, "What do you do?" "I'm the mailman." And when I was younger, I thought he legitimately meant like he was the person who brought mail. He was not. He was not. That was
It was probably
his-
something he couldn't talk about.
It's exactly what it was. That he
So
literally could not tell you a goddamn thing. He could say, "I am in this country." That's it. And even sometimes it wasn't even, "I'm in this part of the world."
of the world.
And that's it.
like that's all you can know.
He literally, that was his go-to. "Oh, what do you do in the army?" "I'm the mailman." "Oh, what do you deliver?" "Stuff."
Packages.
Yep, packages.
Mail
Things.
packages.
I've got
things.
a
All
really
kinds of
good
stuff.
friend like that, and she's still in Nashville. I'm not going to say a name because I don't want to get her in trouble because she can't
Right.
say a lot of stuff. but she's Air Force intelligence retired.
Oh boy.
Yeah, anything that requires
Clearance.
higher than secret clearance, anything that required over standard clearance, anything secret and above, you get to do a lot of really badass shit that you don't get to talk about.
If I remember correctly, he had 2 sets of patches that he would
One
have.
that you
One that he
yeah. So
wore, and then one that
all the
he
time.
wore.
Yeah. So those and it's crazy how they do that because it's cool, but it's crazy. So
Yeah.
you have your everyday patches. That's what you wear every day. That's so people don't know that you're special forces. We'll call it that. We won't say special operations, we'll say special forces. So you have your everyday patches that you wear every day. You take those off and you put your special forces patches on. It's only when it's go time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get as special forces, you can get called up on a moment's notice at any point in time. You could be sitting at home doing a podcast like we are now, get that phone call, boom, out the door. I'm gone.
His go bag
Within 10 hours,
was
I'm in the Middle East.
stored in his safe by the front door.
Yep.
He also
You see it a lot nowadays with like SEALs because now we figured out that if you have a really bad, high intense situation, say a really bad hostage situation, that SWAT may not be handled to or equipped to deal with, and you've got a unit of a base with SEALs nearby, they're calling the SEALs.
Mhm.
I just sent over a picture of my great uncle that I was named after. For to have show when I was talking about it, but he was airborne ranger and he was a sharpshooter.
I love the hat.
And the Errol Flynn mustache.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandfather.
His brother survived Pearl Harbor.
Oh shit.
Dang.
He was stationed on Sub Chaser.
My grandfather was in the Navy, and he was on the USS Spokane. And it was during peacetime. He joined the Navy in 1946 and served on the US Spokane. And he used to tell us stories. And my favorite story is they were doing training missions. It was, war games because it was a peaceful time.
War games are fun.
And
I'll just say that.
they look fun. But in this instance, it was not so fun because one of the big cannons on the top deck, somebody loaded it backwards, loaded the shell backwards.
Almost a misfire.
And he said that his commanding officer pointed at him and another dude and said, "Everybody else below deck, y'all with me." And so he had to go in there with the other guy and his commanding officer to
Correctly load.
I don't know if they detonated it, unloaded it. I don't know what.
So they would have had to have unloaded it and reloaded
that shit. He said it was the scariest moment of his life.
Yeah.
And then another instance of some tomfoolery was somebody got the coordinates wrong when they shot off a water missile. Torpedo, thank you. And they watched it skip. So
that's the first time I've ever had called that.
So their ship is here, and there's another big battleship over here.
Well, the torpedo didn't even go under the water.
They watched it skip, which is why I said water missile, because it didn't go under the water. It was on the water. They watched it skip towards, and he said, "There, that's what it was." He said when it passed the other ship was in full reverse, and it passed with feet to spare.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh, I bet y'all got your asses handed to you," and he was like, "We did."
Well, my stepdad served on the USS Forstall, the aircraft carrier.
Yeah, the Forstall. Yeah.
He was a machinist, second class. And he got so much trouble one day. He was stationed down there in the engine room by himself, and he was getting hungry, so he put a can of beans on the engine to heat up. He forgot to pierce it. Got to working. Boom! Beans everywhere. Oh, he does. He like PTSD of what happened after that.
I bet.
Let's just say he got in trouble.
I can
Oh
imagine.
boy.
Imagine how many people thought they were probably under attack.
Probably.
This
The
was back there in Cold War, so it was 79, I think. No, 82, somewhere in there.
So Reaper, do you know who Cappy is? Cappy Army?
I
He's
don't.
he's a journalist. He went over to Ukraine and stuff. Did some journalist stuff over there. He was on Eli's new podcast, the Say Hi to Eli show. He told this story, and I'll get his
Thank you, honey.
exact handle and everything to
Oh, I'll have to watch his stuff. I have not seen his
It-
stuff yet.
Still crooked.
it's really good. But
To the right.
so
No.
he tells the
He's
story
what
about
I'm talking
how he got shot in basic.
Oh Lord.
Ha!
And so he's, they're at the range, they're doing their thing, and then they're up on the 200-yard line, I guess setting up their targets or getting their targets set up or whatever. They're standing up there, and I guess normally there's a berm between the ranges, right? The way he explained it. And he said, but apparently at this spot, there was just a tree line. And he said on the range next to them, there was some guy that was going through the motions or whatever. And when you go through your firing and then you come off, they teach you, and any training will teach you, gun goes immediately back on safe.
Mm-hmm.
This guy went through, and when he flipped it, he didn't flip it to safe, he flipped it to burst.
Oh,
And then did not take his finger off the trigger. And he either tripped on a limb, tripped over his own feet, sent 3 rounds, who knows where. And he said all of a sudden he's standing there and he just feels like like somebody slapped him on the back. And he says, the fuck? Like, what the fuck was that? And he still lifts up, rolls up, and starts looking. He's like, there's a hole there. He's like, I think I just got shot. Says he puts his sleeve down and then looks back up. Sure enough, there's a little bit of blood. He says, Drill Sergeant, I think I just got shot. He's like, what? What do you mean you just got shot? He's like, just drink some water. You'll be all right. So he looks it up and it's starting to hurt, and he is looking and says, no, Drill Sergeant, for real, I think I just got shot. Pulls up and finally he walks over and he's like, holy shit, you did just get fucking shot. He
That's
said,
insane.
oh, the story is insane, and I'm doing it no justice
Crazy.
telling this. And I will have Ducky put his info and
well,
but it is,
That's one of
Well,
the reasons that
hell yeah, brother.
I hate when Goblin likes to watch like Saving Private Ryan or other really aggressive military movies.
You won't let me watch Band of Brothers.
Not with
oh,
me in
that's
the room.
awesome.
Oh, but it's so good. I
It's so
haven't started.
good.
I
There's
have not watched Pacific yet. Don't ruin Pacific for me. But
there
Band
is
of
a
Brothers, so
very
good.
there is a very specific reason why I don't. And for anyone who doesn't know, the Nuggets' biological dad is in the Army. And there's no love lost there. So don't want anyone to start some shit, Mark.
Nobody was starting shit.
I was thinking about anyone else who was going to watch it.
No, but at the
But
same
hold on.
time, because it's the Nuggets dad, you don't want
Exactly.
anything bad to happen to him.
Exactly.
No, yeah. I mean, we don't agree on a lot of things, but I do have
But you gotta
a great amount of respect
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
for what he does, and I would never disrespect that.
Right.
Like I said, we disagree on a lot of things, but at the end of the day, he's still the Nuggets dad.
Yep.
And he still deserves
It just gives
respect.
me a horrible thought process of if, knocking on wood, anything were to happen in a situation like that,
It's
I would have to deal with that and try to help the Nugget through something like that. And that just terrifies the ever loving Jesus out of me. And he just re-upped for another 10 years.
and it's worse. It's worse and so much harder if you're in that top secret side of things.
Mhm.
Because if you're doing that kind of badassery, that's the kind of things that get you medals that nobody knows why you got a medal.
Yeah.
Those are the
Or
kind of missions that you're not expecting to come back from.
or that's what I was gonna say. Or it's one of those things where you don't get those medals, your family does because you don't come home.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
I don't want to have to try and deal with that because I am a very sensitive
Nobody wants to
person.
deal with that.
Well, yeah,
You
but
know,
I'm as somebody who is super sensitive when it comes to stuff like that. Like when the Nuggets fish died that we had 4 days and was sick when we got him. We both cried. Like I knew
yeah.
it was coming, but
No,
like
I mean,
Collapsed.
I get it. Believe me,
it
I
was
get it.
rough. Like, and that was a fish we had 4 days.
You
Listen,
know, I can
listen.
imagine how hard it was on my parents the first time I got deployed.
Yeah.
You know, they supported my military decision, but you
Don't mean
know,
it wasn't hard on them.
right.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what's really fucked up about that fish? That
What?
tank's still full of water.
yeah, it's half full. He asked me about it. He's
Yeah,
like, "Am
'cause
I
the
getting
water-
another fish?" And I was like, "I don't know yet, bud. We'll figure it out." But
He
like,
asked like not long ago.
yeah, but like the Nuggets dad is getting deployed. That's why he's with him right now. Like he gets him for the summer, but he's there June and July, the entire 2 months he has no school because he's getting deployed in November and won't be back until November of next year. So he
So,
misses all of summer.
and it's crazy because so like when the army says you're getting deployed, it's kind of twofold. It's hit or miss. So you could be getting deployed to say like okay, so
Poland.
when I got my orders, I went from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, was on a C-130, flew to Kuwait, landed in Kuwait, met up with the unit that was going into Afghanistan, rode with them, met up with my unit at Bagram Airfield, and then went on patrol from there. So that is a combat deployment. So the other fold of the deployment is you could go to Korea or the Philippines or anywhere that we have Guam, anywhere that we have a military base, and that's considered a deployment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a combat deployment. Yeah, we're not combat anywhere currently.
He does, without giving too much away, he does
Transportation.
logistics.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
So
88 Mike, stuff like that. Like he's truck drivers and stuff like that.
Back when I used to live in Tennessee, at the apartments I worked at, we had an elderly gentleman. who was served on a battleship in World War II in the Pacific.
Mhm.
And I went into his apartment to do some maintenance. And I saw in his mantle photo he took in person because he had his camera on him when it happened. They were attacked by Zeros. And he snapped it right as they shot one down, and it was going down in flames right over the ship.
Dang.
That's
I've got a
pretty cool.
copy of it somewhere. I need to find before we do editing. We can post it in, but
You
that's
got a
one of the
week.
coolest pictures. It's one of the coolest pictures I've seen that wasn't like a viral one. It was somebody actually took it I was talking to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool.
that is pretty cool.
Gavin looks
Um,
like he's scheming over there.
No.
He's
No,
like young. He's got another question. I know he wants to ask it.
No, I
It's
just
like,
have
should I or
the
shouldn't I?
I just have the ratio of
The ratio.
U.S. deaths
Mm.
in Afghanistan versus
The rest of the world.
the other side.
It's probably uneven. I know early on, like in the early 2000s, we were losing a lot of service members.
It's way less than you think.
Really? It's not as lopsided as I figured.
Less than 2,500.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Less than 20 is 2,449. A lot of wounded. Wounded's different.
Wounded
I'm
is
talking about
different.
deaths. You know how many the other side is?
Oh, we kicked their ass.
69,000.
Oh yeah, we kicked their ass.
It's like 600 to 1.
Yeah.
Vulcan
It's
Ranger.
literally-
If you want to see something crazy, have you ever seen the Iron Dome?
No.
In Israel?
Okay.
When the Iron Dome goes up? Because that's like Sea Whiz, but all around from multiple directions at the same time.
So the US is working on
The Golden Dome?
yes, they're working on a new one. It's gonna be our Iron Dome. But it is called the Golden Dome. It is significantly supposed to be significantly upgraded.
We have way
from-
better radar.
But yes, Iron Dome is that's what's helping keep Israel safe as
Mhm.
safe as it can right now. And this thing, I mean, it's not just so it's it's CWIZ, and I want to say Patriot,
I want to say they also have Patriot.
but it's
Over
all
there.
integrated. It's all integrated into one, and basically this literally radar locks on anything, and it'll fire whatever it has simultaneously from every direction at this object. I know they have the CWIZ, and
that's what it
I want to
is.
say the
So
Patriot.
Sorry.
the Iron Dome,
I had to Google because when you guys said Iron Dome, I just imagined like
just a big dome that just shuts. No,
No.
like
no. So the
Raise
components
shields!
the components of it has detection and tracking radar, identifies and tracks incoming threats. The BMC, which is the battle management and weapon control, analyzes the threats. It has it launches Tamir interceptor missiles. And then I know it also has like CWIS in the pictures and the videos of it.
Yeah, I just saw
Are
some of them because I
so crazy.
literally
Oh,
thought you
I-
guys were like, it's a dome, and I just in my mind thought about because I can't picture it, just doof 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 doof.
Iron Dome is one of the coolest, and it was partially developed by the U.S. We helped Israel design and build this system, which is how it's super important our tech industry is. But they integrated that. They haven't had it that long. 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not that long.
Um,
But like it's so
And it's-
crazy. Like I'm looking at an image that you can see the Tamir missiles launching, and then like a Sea Whiz coming off in the right, and they're both just
yeah. Oh yeah.
it just looks so dope.
I mean, it is by far one of the coolest things that that the U.S. and Israel have come up with together. Um,
Well, I'll tell you something cool I saw. Was you made me think of it when you said minigun. I was in Nashville. I can't like 2018 range, ish,
mhm,
and I was on the way to the airport to pick up my mom and dad because they flew out of town, and I was going down Briley Parkway in Nashville and had to pull over the shoulder because all of a sudden, coming up behind me were a whole bunch of cops in a motorcade. Trump was going by his first term.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm sitting here, it's nighttime and the street lights, I can see through the tinted windows shining on the other side. And all of a sudden, an SUV goes by me and you can see the minigun on the armature behind the window.
mhm.
And I was
Yeah.
like, good God, that's
So,
big.
so a lot of people don't realize that, that is something that they do have.
I have a thought that I don't
What's
want to
the
lose. That was the nose.
okay?
I have a thought
Okay.
I don't want to lose.
Um,
Finish.
it's kind of like there's they're not going to tell us what they put in to the White House post 9/11, but
Right.
we've all seen the pictures
Mhm.
post 9/11 of the missile system
Oh, yeah.
on the roof of the White House.
It's on the roof.
And
It's the
some
same. It's the
buildings in
same
DC.
thing. Yeah, it's the same thing with the trucks, the SUVs in front of the Beast and behind the Beast. There's stuff there. There's stuff in there. They're not going to tell us it's in there,
No.
Right.
but it's there.
That's where, as a
So-
civilian, I can say, I saw that minigun.
So I fell down a rabbit hole and you said Trump and it reminded me of it. I was watching a TikTok and I don't remember what he was doing, but he was walking and I was looking at one of his bodyguards and I was like, dude, why does your hand look crazy? And I was like, did he hire a one-armed? That's progressive. That's a choice.
Talking about the fake arm.
Yes, and I found out that it's a legitimate fake arm that holds their jacket because their
Mhm.
real arm is holding a fucking gun.
Mhm.
And
MP5K.
I never thought about how, and like I know seconds matter, but it never occurred to me that they were that ahead to even think about that.
Uh, so interesting. Just in case you guys were wondering, because I was talking about a Gatling gun earlier, the U.S. Army does use a minigun. It is a 7.62 by 51 NATO 6-barrel rotary machine gun. It is typically mounted. However, it is not mounted on our vehicles.
Oh,
It is mounted on a vehicle, but it's not one that we as a grunt you normally use. They are on our UH-60 Blackhawks.
Yes.
They replaced the M60 on the
Blackhawks are so cool.
Blackhawk.
Didn't I
Or
swear there's a
They
story.
replaced the 50s. I'm sorry, the 50 caliber.
They replaced the 50 cals, which those replaced the M60s. I swear there's a story.
I've shot the
Of,
Madus.
I bet that was fun. I swear there's a story of
Put that
a
down.
couple of army guys that mounted a minigun to a backpack or something like that. It was like they belt fed something that was not supposed to be belt fed from a
I'm
backpack,
not 100%
and
sure.
the army like paid them for it.
I'm not sure.
Oh, they belt fed the saw. It looks like a saw.
Okay. So I bet that was probably an experiment to see if we could do it, just so that way we didn't have to carry all these extra chains. Because if we could put that in a backpack and have that guy carry it and just belt feed from the backpack, it'd be so much easier.
Yeah, so
But it'd
that's
be
what it
so heavy
was.
still.
But they used I watched something on it. I don't remember who broke it down, but it was like the frame or something but anyway, however they did it, like the army literally was like, "Oh shit. It's all right. That's dope."
Yeah. So, interesting fact about the army: we will take they will take stuff that people do out in public and see if they can find a way to integrate it into the army way of life and make it better.
I definitely did just find a picture of an MG 314 Delirium, which is a minigun with a belt-fed backpack.
Shit.
It looks nasty.
I'm trying to figure out what Ducky and Hank are over here giggling about.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
I feel like they're DMing each other.
No,
No, it was something that you or me said that they're
No.
no,
they're
what
giggling
you?
about.
It had nothing to do with either one of you.
Or they're making faces at each other.
Nope.
We'll have to go back and rewatch. See.
I don't know. I have no idea. But anyways, me and Reaper could literally sit here and talk about this
Oh,
4
yeah.
hours.
God, I've got stories for days and
Thanks for watching this bonus content from the Undead Family podcast. If you like this extra bit, let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. And hey, if you want more behind the scenes moments or bonus stories like this, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the next episode.